If I sound really angry when I have a heavy energy right now when I make this TikTok, I can't help it. Something happened in Texas, in a Texas school, elementary school to be exact. Just happened. As the school was getting ready for its school year, and teachers and admin were hanging up all kinds of welcoming posters and stuff on the walls. One of the posters was a picture of two hands holding on to each other. It didn't show the children, just their hands hanging on to each other. One was a black hand and one was a white hand. And some parents called and complained and said that that was politicizing and that it needed to come down. And the trustee of that school on the school board said, I agree. That's politicizing, and that needs to come down. The picture of a black child and a white child holding hands needed to come down. I want everybody to pause for a second and think about this. And when this trustee was asked, well, what about all of the Bible verses that are now being hung around this public school? Isn't that politicizing? She refused to answer. I highly recommend, if you have not found on TikTok conveniently, an 8-part presentation by Dr. Joy Angela DeGroy. I hope I said her name correctly. And it's called The Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I highly recommend you take the time to watch it. In one of the parts, it talks about a law that was passed. It was passed as a result of slave owners that beat their slaves to death because they didn't follow instructions. Do you know how hard it is to beat somebody until they die? What kind of rage has to be inside that person, and how much they are dehumanizing that beautiful soul in front of them? They passed a law that said, should this happen, that a slave not follow instructions and they are beat to death by their white slave owner, that slave owner cannot be held responsible. They cannot be convicted. They cannot be charged. They cannot be made to feel bad whatsoever because it was 100% the slave's fault. Okay? Do you want to know why I'm bringing that up? Because when you take a look at all these white nationalist evangelical Republicans today, including those on Moms for Liberty taking over these school boards, and you see their coldness, the steel coldness in their eyes when people come in and cry and plead and try to have fruitful conversation and get them to see the error of their ways when they behave like this, it's because according to Dr. DeGroy, most of the beatings until the slaves were killed were by white women beating black children to death. I want you to take that in so you understand, everybody understands what we're really dealing with here. There's not just segregation being attempted here. There's segregation reverting back to the kind of dominion white evangelicals had over every person with any kind of pigment. Okay? That's what's happening. So whatever was in those women's cold, dead hearts when they sat there beating these black children to death for not following instructions, that kind of DNA, whatever that evilness is what has infected the white evangelical Republican movement today. I said what I said.